Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. These are going to be the new makeup releases for December. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. As I do every month, I have another overview for you for all of the new releases that have been announced. This weekend was Black Friday weekend, and as I had predicted, we got a lot of new releases this month. Who knew? I had kind of already expected this because this seems to be happening every single year ever since Black Friday became bigger and bigger, that a lot of brands seem to be saving a lot of their releases for Black Friday week. So there's a lot that came out in the past couple of days, so I have lots to chat about with you. Let's just get started. For the newbies here, I do edit this a little bit. I do not try to include everything under the sun. I try to only talk about things that I'm mildly interested in. Anything else that already makes me go like, really? I already leave out of the selection. So that Bobbi Brown Pac-Man collection that was announced, I was like, what's going on there? We're not even gonna discuss it. Two things I want to update you on before I get to these new releases. In recent months, I said that I would be interested in the Huda Beauty Icy Nude and the new face palette that is a limited edition from Dior for Christmas. So it's from their Backstage line. I have the universal one already and really love it. And the new one that came out also had a color story that really appealed to me. I have since, talking about these products, been able to see them in stores and swatch them, and I didn't like them. So with the Dior face palette, there is one white shade that is incredibly glittery. The pinky blush is okay, but it's very similar to the pink tone blush in the palette I already have, so that would be a bit of a double. And then there's a peachy coral, which is not my blush shade, so I know I wouldn't reach for it. So out of the 4 shades in this palette, I would only be interested in wearing one of them. That's the only one I truly wanted, so that's going to be too expensive of a purchase for me to make that worth it. And the Huda Beauty Icy Nude, so stunning. Such a stunning palette. I saw it in real life again just yesterday before I sat down to film this video, and she looks absolutely gorgeous. It's a color story after my heart, loads of cool tones. But I went into store a couple of weeks ago, swatched it, and held it up in natural lighting, and then I just didn't like the shimmers at all. The mattes, beautiful. Really gorgeous mattes. It's really smooth, buttery formula, but the shimmers are just so chunky and glittery, and I just knew I wouldn't enjoy that kind of formula, and I would just knock it down for that. And then as I saw the colors swatched on the back of my hand all together, I realized that I already own this color story. The Be Perfect Gravity palette that I bought last year is pretty much an exact dupe for the Icy Nude. It's a bit smokier, it's perhaps a little bit deeper, but I feel it's just not that new in my collection. So I was like, I'm just gonna drop it at the start of my new makeup releases video that if you're wondering, Micah, when are you going to be picking up those products? I have decided against it now that I've seen them in real life, and this is one of the reasons why I love being able to see some products in real life before I decide to purchase anything, because very often it's just not really what I wanted. So that might be the case here as well. So there are going to be new releases that I'm super excited for, that I think I might buy. There are definitely a couple here where I'm like, ooh, yes, that's totally up my street, but most of it is just not going to be feasible. I have close to 40 new releases here. I buy makeup maybe once or twice a month. A little bit more for Black Friday. I budget for that kind of thing. So I definitely don't need to buy too much from this list. So if you find me too negative saying, I'm not gonna get it, it's not because I don't like it. It's just that I'm only one person and there's only so much makeup I can buy. And the more I try, the pickier I just become. That's just been the case for me very much. First things first, we have a Milani new glossy plumping lip balm. So these are these like plumping sort of lip balm things that MAC came out with, I think about 1.5 years ago now. And now we have a Milani version. Great. I think if you have easy access to Milani where it's not marked up, this can be a good product for you. Over here, a Milani releases take really long to get here, and it's always about double the price of what it is in the US, so I don't think these are going to be worth it. But if you saw my most recent haul, you know I really like the Milani Color Fetish lipsticks, both the balmy version as well as the matte version. I now own 3 or 4 shades from each of those lines, so that's definitely something that I do enjoy. Milani can do some good lip products. So if this appeals to you, go for it, but I don't need it for my personal collection. Something that came back, and this is something I've been seeing quite a bit. I think there are a couple of releases that have come back. So Notoriously Morbid came out with the Poltergeist palette again. I think this was released last year for the first time, or maybe even 2 years ago. And it's essentially like little pans with horror characters inside them. That's the main selling point here. I have no idea whether Notoriously Morbid is worth the price point though, because it's a brand I've never tried. They do some interesting color stories and they have become available on Monolith, but a lot of the interesting color stories sell out really quickly. So that's why I haven't been able to buy them yet, but I think in 2025, this could be a brand I get my hands on somehow. Then L'Oreal has a new highlighter. This is the Lumi Le Glace highlighter stick. I think this is US only so far. This is usually the case with a lot of L'Oreal. The US gets it first and about a year later we get it. So this is going to take a while because I had only saw just yesterday, I went to Germany yesterday, and only then I was able to see that glow lotion thing that's been making the rounds on TikTok. It was only in the German drugstore then. I haven't seen it anywhere in the Netherlands, so I don't think this is going to happen anytime soon. Another thing that I noticed with a lot of the releases this time around is that a lot of Western makeup brands are starting to look like K-beauty brands, because this is Makeup Revolution. Oh yes. When I first saw this, I was like, what Clio palette is that? It's not. It's Makeup Revolution. It's the Metallic Muse collection. Comes with a palette and some lipsticks and some lip plumping thing. There's a glitter mascara. Apparently glitter mascara is back. I did glitter mascara back in the early 2000s. I don't need it again in my life. It gets everywhere when you try to take it off. So that's why this is definitely going to be a skip for me. I don't really love Makeup Revolution as a brand. Not a lot of what I have tried from them has been worth the price point in the end. So I'm always a little bit skeptical when it comes to Makeup Revolution. And then the first Christmas collection that came out in recent weeks that really has my heart, and I very much was on the fence about this one. This is the Odin's Eye Holiday Collection. I don't know exactly what it's called. But they have been doing this for a few years now, where they come out with 2 palettes for Christmas with a Christmas theme. The image I have, the fronts of the palette are the palettes from last year, and the new ones are actually ones that are open. I believe it's like the Rosy Christmas and Silver Bells, and especially the Silver Bells palette. It has my heart. It has some really pretty cool tones in. The thing with Odin's Eye, I feel, is that their layouts are really interesting, which is what draws me in every single time. I have mentioned many times, though, on the channel that I've had some issues with Odin's Eye quality. I think there are batch issues with them sometimes. So if you get the bad batch, you just don't have such a great palette, especially in the shimmer formula. I haven't really loved it. But I do really enjoy their color stories. This is so incredibly pretty to look at. And as I was going through like what was new and what I might want to pick up for Black Friday, this was definitely one of the things that I had my eyes on. And I was like, how much would I actually be using that palette? And I was like, I hardly ever use my Odin's Eye palettes that I do have as it is. So it's not going to be worth it for me to be adding to that list, just to gamble and see if this may be a good palette for me. The rosy one is definitely a no for me. I don't like these pastels. This is another theme I've noticed this month. We're doing brights for Christmas this year. Okay. If that's you, if you want to go for a bright look for Christmas, you do you. But I like to keep it a bit more classic with just a neutral and a red lip. That's the way I live my life. Catrice has 2 new limited edition collections out. I was able to see these in real life. And they just didn't look good. So this is the first one. This is the Festive Treasures. And the packaging is so incredibly deceiving on this palette because it is a face and eye palette. There are face products in the middle and then there are eyeshadows on both sides. And the design of the packaging looks very similar to my beloved Fall in Colors eyeshadow palette. But this isn't just eyeshadow, so that's why I'm not picking it up. And the 3 liquid blushes, they looked a bit messy in store. They seem to have already separated, and this is a brand new launch from them, so I'm not sure how staple they are. Catrice can do a good lip. I've tried several of their limited edition lipsticks in the past. Love them. Their lip product quality is usually pretty consistent, but I don't think this collection necessarily is going to be worth it. Nomad was already teasing this. I already mentioned this briefly in my previous new makeup collection, new makeup releases video, and at the time we only had like 1 or 2 shades that were released, but it's the Polar Express palette. Loads of pretty shades. I really enjoy the Nomad Cosmetics formula, but in the past year they haven't really released any color stories that have appealed to me, so I'm gonna be skipping this one, even though I like the blues with like the icy colors, the neutrals with the reds and the gold. Very Christmassy. It's got the icy things, but you know, it's pretty similar to that Silver Bells palette from Odin's Eye, where it's like silvers with reds. That's another theme I've noticed. So there's that. Don't need it in my life. Viseart came out with a new palette as well. This is the Cyrano's, I don't know how to say this in English. Étendue palette. It seems to be absolutely stunning. I'm wearing Viseart on my eyes today. They do one of my favorite eyeshadow formulas. We all know that. I've bought these limited edition or Christmas time releases quite a few times. This is one I'm considering because I love the Viseart formula so much, and when I was putting this look together today, it's with the Vespertine palette that came out last year. I was like, oh, Viseart is so good. But here's the thing. I have so many Viseart palettes already. Nothing I have looks exactly like this. It seems to be pretty cool toned in some pictures. And here's the reason why I'm on the fence about this one as well. I've seen images of this that make it look super warm toned, and I've seen images of this that make it look super cool toned. So I cannot tell what this color story is going to give me per se. And when I look at the swatches of this, it doesn't look that cool toned. So it definitely has a lot of cool toned shimmers in, but in the mattes, it seems to be warmer tone browns, which not sure I like it. I think if I'm going to get it, it's going to be like a Christmas present to myself kind of thing. That's how I usually do it. I tend to not shop Viseart until like late December if there's anything on the wish list. So this is something I'm considering. If this is something I can pick up from Boozy Shop or Beauty Bay, I might do it. But if I have to buy this from the original like official Viseart website, I don't think I might find it worth the shipping and handling fees I would have to pay on top of the actual expense for the palette. So I think I'm going to wait for this to become available a bit more widely so I can actually get my hands on it, if I do at all. Black Moon Cosmetics is coming out with a new collection. It's the Perfect collection. It's a cat themed palette. I think a lot of people are going to love this. Black Moon is an indie brand that a lot of people enjoy and love. I've never tried them, so I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about the quality. This doesn't look interesting enough for me to say like, okay, this is a brand I now want to try. So far, Black Moon hasn't really released anything that truly speaks to my heart and soul, so that's why I've never tried them before, and this is another one that goes into that list. So maybe you have more experience with them. Let me know in a comment down below if you have experience with Black Moon Cosmetics. I would love to know. Remember what I said about re-releases? These are by Gimme Glow. These are the Bad Witch and also the Two Moods, their Pastel Dreams and Juicy Olive palette. All came out again, but this time with different pan sizes. So I believe these used to be the really big round pans they used to do, and they're now all square. That's just the way it is. I think there is still demand for these palettes, which is why they're bringing them back around this time of year, because this is when a lot of people seem to be buying a lot of makeup. And these seem to be gorgeous, gorgeous palettes. Have I now tried Give Me Glow? I haven't. They've become available on MONOLITH though. But nothing that they have released in recent years has truly made me feel like I would like to get that. You know what I feel? You know what I mean? So a few years ago, they were very much hyped up, but it was very expensive to get them. So I stayed away from the brand for a while. And now that I can get them a little bit more easily, I don't find them that interesting anymore. Then I think a collection a lot of people have fallen in love with. It's the new Melt Cosmetics with Bailey Sarian. Sarian, that's her name. It's the Fatally Yours #2. It's a whole collection with liners and lipsticks and whatnot. This palette is really, really making the rounds online. Does this make sense for Bailey Sarian? Yes. Does this make sense for Melt? Also very much yes. Does this release make sense for me? Absolutely not. It seems to be another very matte heavy palette, which is not my preference, so I will definitely be skipping this one, but I think for the brand and the collab they're doing here, it's incredibly clever, and this is the kind of Melt release that I think they should do more often, because this is old school Melt. You know what I mean? Like, this is really good for them, so I hope it does well, and it keeps getting the rave reviews I hear everybody say, like, talking about this. Blend Bunny has a new collab as well. I'm unfamiliar with the creator, and from what I can tell, it's also a collab with Glisten Cosmetics. I'm a little confused with this one because I see conflicting information, and apparently it's 2 palettes. So it's one side of the girl's face and then the other side of the girl's face, and both sides have their own color story. Love a bit of Blend Bunny now that I've tried a palette that's truly, truly up my street. With the Longing palette, I just know I can appreciate them a bit more. But this, like a lot of Blend Bunny, seems very matte heavy to me, which again, is just not my favorites. It's not my preference to have a majority of matte shades in a palette. That's just how I roll. I prefer a good shimmer over a matte any time of day. And this is just also a bit bright and colorful for what I currently am into with the kind of makeup looks I like to do. So I will be skipping this, but I think it makes sense for the brand. It's very on brand for Blend Bunny because they do bright shades really well. There's a few Ensley Reign bits in here. This is a little 6-pan that they've come out with. This is part of their Woodland Creatures collection, and it's the Hoppy Go Lucky. I didn't know Ensley Reign did these little small things. It will retail for $26. It should already be out, and it looks really cute. If you like this kind of color story and you've never tried Ensley Reign before, this could be a nice one. Will I be picking it up? No, but the other thing I have for you, I might. I'm not sure yet, but I might. This next release is by Sinful Echoes. I've never heard of this brand before. I think they're a new brand. I don't know. It says it's a restock, but I had never seen these palettes before. It seems to be 3 of them. It's a bundle. They retail for $35 each, and you can get the bundle for €90 is the information I have here. This looks like any small indie brand eyeshadow palette that's come out in the last 2 years. So to me, the color stories aren't unique enough, but if this is something you were eyeing up, it could very well be nice. Like I said, I've never tried this brand before, so I can't speak to the quality of them. Remember what I said about that previous Makeup Revolution collection, saying like, that looks like K-Beauty? They've come out with these blushes. I don't know why, but this reminds me so much of my Feve blush that I have, or Fui. I always mix up those 2 brands, but I have this little, almost like clear plastic compact with a little domed, almost putty kind of blush in a very pretty light lilac shade from a K-Beauty brand, and this is what Makeup Revolution has turned it into. It's their Beam Bright Blush. It comes in 4 shades. It is more of a powder though, so they seem to be like a baked product. Could be really nice. Not sure I need it in my life because even that lilac shade pulls really warm toned on the model. It's like a warmer pinky tone rather than a true purple. But if these are in store and you can swatch them and you like these shades, these could be nice, because if there is a product that's been successful with me and Makeup Revolution, it's their cheek products. Those tend to be my favorite things they do. And then this is just a sad announcement. Lime Crime is doing away with their makeup line. They're gonna just do hair from now on. Who saw that coming? I think we all kind of did, because Lime Crime hasn't been really doing any releases. They haven't been coming out with a lot of things, and they seem to have been disappearing from more and more retailers. I still hold a bunch of my Lime Crime palettes very near and dear to my heart, so I'm sad to see them go, but I also think this brand just took a couple of wrong turns along the way, and that's why I think this is a natural progression for the brand. So the brand itself is going to stick around, they're just going to be focusing on other things. Unearthly has dropped a new collection. This is the Just a Taste collection. The palette looks absolutely stunning. If you saw that Gargoyle palette that they came out with for Halloween, And then now this, it's like the exact opposite. And that's something that Unearthly does so well. Here's the thing. I've tried an updated Unearthly palette with the newer formula in this year, and I didn't like it as much as the old formula. So I think I'm going to stick to just my older Unearthly palettes, those I love. But these newer ones, I don't think I like them. And this is incredibly warm toned. The Gargoyle, so many of you have told me that it's an excellent palette. It's kind of on my wish list on Monolith, but there's always things that come out that I want more than that one. So it could be something I pick up sometime next year if it ever goes on sale, but it's just not something I'm currently interested in. Another notoriously morbid release, this is the Merry Mean One palette, which is their Black Friday release. So this looks stunning. It only has 2 mattes. Everything else has these really pretty dimensional shimmers. I've heard good things and bad things about Notoriously Morbid. Some people love them. Some people think it feels a bit cheap. It definitely looks a little bit cheap, even though this palette definitely isn't. I believe this is also one of their more expensive ones. So not sure if I'm going to get the quality I want with this, but it's something I would like to look into. I'm not sure if this is coming to Monolith. DD Signature has a new palette as well. I've seen a lot of creators already making content with this. This is the Fearless Holiday eyeshadow palette. Very warm toned, very bright, very intense, and very punchy, which I think goes really well with the vibe that DD Signature seems to be going for, but it's not something that I need in my life. This is just not my kind of color story, and to me it's not even Christmas. So this is what I mean with loads of bright things coming out for Christmas. We had that Rosy palette from Odin's Eye, this one, and also another one that's still coming up that's just weirdly bright for the festive season. Which, I mean, sometimes if you're someone who just really likes to be super creative and you like your bright shades, I'm not gonna knock you down for that, but it's not my preference. Next up is the Ensley Reign Light in Your Eyes palette, and I've seen swatches of this. And it looks gorgeous. There is some warmth. There is some warmth on that right-hand side of the palette, but they seem to like these really pretty mustardy fall colors. Everything else is incredibly neutral or cool-toned. It's set up in a similar way to the Cold Moon, with like a shimmer and a matte each, but this does seem to have those flaky shades that I didn't love in the Cold Moon. I think, yeah, this is a 21 pan eyeshadow palette. It's got 10 shimmers, 11 mattes. It's $75, and it came out for Black Friday. I know this is going to come to Monolith with their next drop, which is the 13th of December. So this will be coming to Monolith. This is probably going to retail really close to like 100 euros over here. It's probably going to be 80, 85 euros by the time it gets to Monolith. And I'm not sure if I want that or not. So I think I'm just going to see what's going to happen in terms of like releases, and then maybe this and one of the other palettes that is on the list today that I think I definitely want to get. If those are in stock at the same time, like end of December, early January, I might pick them up. But I'm not entirely sure about this one yet. It looks stunning. This is completely up my street. Not sure I need it in my life because it probably has a lot of those flaky shimmers in, but the swatches I've seen of this are sublime. So this is the one that's pulling on my heartstrings this month. Like, do I need it? It's expensive. I don't know. Remember what I said about a second Catrice collection. This is the Arctic Illusion eyeshadow palette collection, I should say. It comes with some really strange products. So this is not for me. The highlighter was sold out everywhere I went already when I was in Germany. Haven't seen this one in the Netherlands though, so maybe online only, I don't know. But yeah, it seems to have some interesting products in it. Not something I need to be picking up anytime soon, but this is the other limited edition from Catrice this time around. Remember what I said about brands making things look like K-Beauty? There's another one. This is by Rude Cosmetics. And they've come out with the Chibi Manga 9-color eyeshadow palettes. These look pretty. I've tried some Rude Cosmetics for the first time this year and just wasn't wowed by it. So this is not something I will be picking up. I have plenty of K-Beauty eyeshadow palettes already. Actually, I have a palette that has kitty stickers that it came with, which I didn't put on it, but I already have plenty of kitty beauty. MAC is already coming out with the Lunar New Year collection for 2025, so this is a bit of a tease because this won't be out anytime soon. I think like January, February time-ish. It's got a palette, some lipsticks, I think some like liquid shadows or something. Not something I'm really interested in, but MAC seems to be back on the map, and I'm really happy for them because MAC is just such a solid brand, and so many people seem to have like forgotten them. And now that, I don't know why, but now all of a sudden everybody's back into MAC, and I'm happy. I'm really, really happy. Wet n Wild has a holiday collection here as well. I can't see the products all that well, but it's very classically Christmas themed. Give me Christmas like this, and I'll snatch it up in a heartbeat. This is not going to be available anywhere where I live, but if you can get your hands on Wet n Wild and you're a sucker for Christmas, this may be nice. Here is the Cosmic Brushes collection. This is the, what's it called? 'Tis the Season. It's got some blushes, some lipstick, and a palette. It's got bright purples, bright greens, and some reds. I'm not sure why this is Christmas all of a sudden. It's like 2024 and all of a sudden we get all these bright shades. So again, not something I need in my life. But it's definitely different for them and for a lot of the things we usually get around Christmas. So it's good to do other things, but I don't need this in my life. I already have the Serenity, I have the Winter Wonderland, I have the Neutrals, the Neutrals, and the Undergrowth now. So I'm like, I'm solid when it comes to Cosmic Brushes. Love their quality. If you love this color story, you may really like it. Another product that is going to be coming to Monolith very, very soon is by Glaminatrix. They came out with these 4 mini palettes. I'm not sure when it exactly came out from Glaminatrix. I just found this image through the Monolith Instagram. And they very often, whenever a brand like announces something, they will like pop it up on their Instagram saying when it will release on their website, which is very helpful for me because that's where I nowadays tend to shop most of my indie palettes. But yeah, these 6 pens look really pretty. I don't think Glaminatrix had something like this yet. Do I need these? No. I have the Barely Basics, which is essentially this, but then in one palette. I'm happy with that. So don't need that in my life. An exciting release from Angelica Nyqvist. Her Singe brand is coming out with their first palette. This is the Galactic Visitor palette. And this is very Angelica. If you know how she likes to do her makeup, you pretty much get this. But here's the thing. I have the Club Nebula from way back in the day when she did a collab with Kaleidos. That was discontinued years ago because it was like limited edition for sure. And this is giving me a similar vibe. It doesn't have the purpley tones in, but I feel those blues with the peaches and like it's just overall a pretty similar vibe with what she likes. And since I already own something that looks very much like what she likes, I don't need this in my life. It goes from light to dark. I don't know if this is going to be good quality. I've tried some brushes from the brand so far, and I have a blush, but I haven't tested it out yet. It seems to be solid products. They seem to be really nice. So yeah, if this is something you would like to get because you want to support her, or if you're just curious after this, I think it might be alright. It's just not really my kind of thing. Then another Gimme Glow release. This is the My Little Teddy. This is teddy bear inspired. It's all browns. What can you expect? It's like browns and nudes, it seems to be. Makes sense for them, for sure. I think it's good for the brand. Did I need another brown tone palette? Absolutely not. If I'm going to get a neutral palette, it's going to be that Viseart palette I mentioned before, but not this one. So I wasn't sure if this was a new brand, but apparently this is a collab between Glamlight and Wonka Chocolate. So, and that's why I was like, you know, this has to be a Glamlight thing. This isn't going to be a new brand. The Willy Wonka collection that they came out with, I think it's out now. It's got a Wonka bar palette. It's got face products. It's got so many things. We know how Glamlight likes to do their makeup collections up. We all know how Glamlight likes to do their makeup collections so far, and this is no different. If you like Wonka, this may be nice, but I don't love the color story here, so I'm definitely going to be skipping this. but it makes sense for Glamlight. They seem to be going back to their roots here because they started off doing a lot of food-themed palettes, and we're getting another one from them. Maybelline has some new products, but they're new to the US. So again, like with the L'Oreal stuff, not sure when this is ever going to make its way here because we also get Maybelline very late. This is the Lifter Sticks Multi-Use Face Stick, which is like a concealer, whatever, sort of hybrid. The Instant Age Rewind in color correcting shades. The Super Fluff Brow Mousse. The Tattoo Studio Sharpenal Gel Pencil. And the Superstay Lumi Matte Foundation. So a lot of new things from Maybelline. If you're in the US and you love your Maybelline, this may be worth a shot. I hope we get it someday. And if we get it, it's probably going to like sneakily make its way into our drugstore and it's not even announced. Like, I have this all the time with L'Oreal and Maybelline releases. I'll like walk into my drugstore for like months on end and not see anything new, and then all of a sudden it's right there and it's always sold out immediately. Whenever there's new products, it always sells out immediately. This one is one that pulls on my heartstrings, but do I need this in my life? Because it's just another purple palette with a bunch of cool tones in. The swatches of this Lethal Cosmetics Spellcraft palette looks absolutely divine. This is... Give me this. It's very sort of, lunar beauty, like what was that called? Like when it looked like spell books. This is created in a similar vibe. It even has a little clasp. The swatches are beautiful. Some of the purples look pretty warm tone though. So I'm not sure if I'm going to like that. The shimmers look beautiful. I love me a good Lethal shadow. I have mainly singles by them, but I sort of built my own sort of color stories with a lot of their singles, which is why I've always felt I didn't really need their palettes. And I feel that they have done something similar in the past. They did a purple palette a couple of years ago. The Night Flower? I think that's what it was called. So I'm not sure if this is going to add anything new to my collection per se. I mean, when I look at the swatches, it does look a little bit similarly to other things I might already have. But in terms of like a new release from Lethal, I think this makes a lot of sense. I think this is a beautiful palette from them. Good job to Lethal. This is the new Artitude collection. They came out with 2 new palettes. This is the Urban Neutrals and the Vintage Neutrals. The Urban Neutrals, you know what I'm going to say about that. That is totally up my street. Those really pretty cool tones seem really, really pretty. The Vintage Neutrals is a little bit more warm toned. I believe that one was announced first. There's also brushes in this collection and a few other bits. I've never tried Artitude. I never have. Can't really say whether they're any good or not because of that reason. So, is this the first time I'm going to try them? I'm not sure. Artitude is available through Monolith though, so I would be able to pick this up quite easily at some point. But again, color story wise, I'm like, I don't think this is going to add anything really, really new and exciting to my makeup collection. And I just realized this year, as I was like filming some of my ranking videos over the summertime, that I have so many palettes that are incredibly similar, and I will always and forever pick one thing over another. So there's no need for me to own every single cool tone palette on the planet. It just doesn't. So would I like to try the brand? Yes. Is this the right color story for me? I'm undecided. Here's the reason why I am probably going to be placing an order on the 13th of December when Monolith restocks their website, because this is going to be dropping then. This is the Realm of Fairies, which is a collab between Bella Beaute Bar and Sassy Fairy. Never heard of the creator before. This looks pretty. This looks really, really stunning. I've seen swatches of this, and it seems to be like the perfect grungy neutral color story with interesting shimmers. I just tried the Poison Garden from Bella Beaute Bar that he came out with for Halloween, and I absolutely fell in love with mine. So if this is anything like that formula from Bella Beaute Bar, I know I'm going to love it. It seems to have a lot of cool tone purples in, some grays, some blues, interesting shimmers. There's enough depth here. I think I might like this. I have no clue how much it's going to go for though. So I'm going to have to wait and see how much this is actually going to cost me. And then this is the plan. I hope. The Ensley Reign Light in Your Eyes together with this. that should be enough to get me free shipping on Monolith. So that could be the order, but then I do think things need to stay in stock until like the end of December, early January time. I bought enough during the Black Friday sale. I pretty much bought my entire wish list, so I don't need anything more coming in anytime soon, because I still have to wait for those orders to get here as well. So by the time I can try this, it's probably going to be February, and I don't want to get too ahead of things, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure if this is limited edition or not, but it's gonna drop on December 6th. That's when this is officially going to drop on the Bella Beaute Bar website. So this isn't out yet. Menagerie has come out with a new release as well. I haven't heard from Menagerie in ages. This is the Polar Lights eyeshadow palette. Menagerie is a brand I really stand hard a couple of years ago, but then during COVID times, they really restricted what areas of the world they were going to be shipping to, and that definitely sort of made me not check the website as often, so I'm not that up to date with what they're up to. This looks pretty. It's a 9 pan. It seems to be what they've shifted to. I still have my Menagerie palettes that I absolutely love and adore, but I don't think I need this one in my life. And here's a final thing I wanted to mention. This is by What's Up Beauty. You will have already seen this yesterday if you saw my haul. These are the new Cheek Terre, I think that's how you say it, bronzers and blushes. I got a couple of shades from each one of those products. They've also come out with some new brushes, and they very kindly gifted these to me in PR. So this is something I already have in, and I can't wait to try these because the blushes and the bronzers in the lighter shades seem to have blue and purple pigments like swirled into them. So I'm very curious to see how those are going to swatch. I haven't had time to take pictures yet, but I hope to be able to do that in the next week or so. So this is going to be a really fun release for me to be playing with. And I think that's it. I think I went through it quite quickly. I think I filmed for just over 30 minutes or so. So I sped my way through this. But I hope this way you have a pretty good idea of what's new, what's out there, and what you can expect from these releases and what I hope to be picking up. Let me know in a comment down below what you might be picking up. Of course, I'm going to be continuing this series in 2025, so I will be back with a new edition for you in January. I hope you have a great December month, and of course, I will be seeing you here on this channel, over on the second channel, or over on the blog, so I'll catch you somewhere. For now, take care, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.